to get a cat to show you. Look at this adorable little kitty. Why is this a kitty? You will quickly say something like it's whiskers or it's tiny little cute little Pete's, but the more you go down that line of questioning, you realize you don't have a full description for what catness is. You can't describe how your brain arrives at catitude. Similarly.
So, I wanted to show you this because he's basically explaining like what ChatGPT is and like what the thinking and like how it's a neural network, and we can't fully understand it because we can't even understand our own mind, right? And he's like, how do you describe a cat, right? And then most people go like, it's a cat, right? That's just a cat. But I don't think that. I think there's a mixture, right? Because there's the what we've always known it as, right? The question is, how did the first person to deem that as a cat, right? So this is gonna get real weird. I'm gonna get real weird with this one. This is a cat. That is a cat. The thing is, right? This is my thinking, right? This is just I'm gonna be pure bullshitting off my top of my head, giving you a heads up. We know that as a cat only because someone has taught that as a cat, and we have taken those features in that attitude as cat-like. From the toe beans, the way it walks, its attitude, the whiskers, to how it looks, its entire being is cat-like, only because that has been listed as the attitude. Because what has the attitude has been listed as, or whatever brain performs, I feel like that's what gives us catness, right? The question is, how did the first person arrive to this is a cat? Which is weird to think about, right? Because you never think about who was the first person to be like, yes, this is a switch. Like, how do you just, like, this makes sense in a naming convention, right? Because you can move it from one thing to another. You can switch the position of it. That's clever, right? But what makes a dog a dog? How do we determine those attitudes? Because it's not like all dogs have the same personality, and all cats don't even have the same personality. I want to keep with the cat thing, right? It's just the physical traits, maybe? Is it the way it sounds? Is it the way it feels? There's a lot that goes into this. And I was watching this video, just listening, because, like, this is a fun free time. The YouTuber's name's Kyle Hill. I always like listening to science people explain science things. And it's problematic because since AI came out, it became a lot harder for me, because there's like not a lot of channels that aren't doing the whole AI thing at all. And it's a little what's the word? It throws me off. So I just listened to like videos of like stuff like this, and when he said like, how does your brain decide what is catness? I think we decide what catness is based off the traits of what a cat is, and we know those traits of what a cat is because we see it perform those traits. But then the layer underneath it is, how do we know what those traits are? Right? Because most people are like, cats are sneaky. Okay, what does it mean to be sneaky? And then the answer goes to, well, it goes to not being seen. Alright, but why is it called that? Right? And then you unfurl. I think it's just like your brain has enough connections of a thing already set in from what it was taught or trained, and you basically are now already have those connections from everything you've been taught. I've always said the sentence of common sense isn't common because it's not being taught. You can't have, like, something is only common when it's consistently being passed around and consistently seen. It becomes rare when it's no longer being taught, trained, and no longer being circulated, right? And then becomes rare and rare until it becomes well seen. Like a penny. A penny is common, but if like penny stopped existing all at once, the worth could go up theoretically just from like, oh, that's a cool item, right? That's just it. And it's not common anymore. It's rarity. I think it's because we have been taught common things, common nouns, in just multiple ways. It's just the catness could have been trained differently if someone just decided to call a cat a dog, right? It's just, I think our neural brain works in terms of like making connections that are very short. So our big brain, the outside brain, can make those connections faster and make it turn into words. Because simply put, if you had to speak every connection that you are making, you wouldn't ever conversate with somebody because it would take way too long. I talk with some friends, and hell, we have to basically speak about all our connections. I know my sister's just like, here's how I got to that connection. It's very interesting hearing that. But like, I think catness is only dependent on, I don't even know if I'm saying anything in this video anymore. But catness is basically what we've been basically taught as. Basically told what those the traits more or less as a cat. We see those traits enough in enough cats, make that the common denominator, and then save that information and repeat it. And the reason why ChatGPT, I guess, seems so good at the moment and not completely out of control is because it's still in that weird learning phase. And this is why I'm getting into certain things. If it goes too far, it's going to get real wacky. I'm going to make a shorter video, but this is interesting.